Good, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hey, listen, this is your playground guy, Johnny Juan Ortiz, in the Fun Life community. And as you guys know, it's all powered by this guy right here, the man, the myth, the legend, legendary speaker, trainer, motivator, extraordinaire himself, Mr. Zig Ziglar. And we typically always start with the Choose to Win foundational program in the Fun Life community of his proud son, Tom Ziegler, right? Choose to win. And that win is really quickly becoming an acronym. I heard a conversation that stands for what's important now. And so, guys, today I am super thrilled and super pumped to bring you our next guest in the Childlike Faith community. Let me just tell you a little bit about our guest, right? His name is Master Rich Grogan, and he's a dedicated champion of human potential, empowering athletes, coaches, and leaders to exceed their expectations and embody the heart of champions. That sounds pretty cool. Check this out. There's more. With over 4 decades of experience, he transforms individuals into extraordinary achievers through his dynamic, get this, Warrior Confidence Unleashed programs. And it's blending those martial art disciplines with expert coaching techniques. And you're going to hear a little bit about that here shortly. But Rich, he's a pioneer in personal and athletic development, renowned for instilling grit, resilience, and impeccable leadership qualities into those that he mentors. Not only that, he ignites the warrior spirit within, guiding them to embrace their full potential. Hey, anybody here have some untapped potential? Hey, you're going to want to listen to this guy. But seriously, he guides them to embrace their full potential and to become the heroes of their own epic stories and leave legacies that are going to ripple through generations to come. Hey, listen, he's also an internationally celebrated speaker and award-winning author. He captivates audience with his electrifying presentations that are rich with energy, inspiration, and breakthrough strategies. He's also known for his dynamic energy and transformative impact. Rich has earned accolades, baby, from global leaders in sports and business, inspiring them to overcome challenges and lead with integrity. Guys, if this isn't the kind of person we want in and on the Childlike Faith podcast in the Fun Life community, I don't know who he is. But hey, listen, seriously, go ahead, get your pen and paper down. I know he's going to drop some writer downers. It's time to embrace your inner warrior and forge a legacy of triumph with Master Rich Grogan leading the charge. Rich, let me go ahead and bring you on stage.
Hey, Johnny.
Welcome, baby. Woo! Man, you know what I'm excited about? Man, you know what I'm excited about is it's getting a little easier to bring people on. You don't understand the struggle in the beginning, man. But hey, as our mentor said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly until you learn to do it better. So I'm excited to have you on here, Rich. Thank you for coming on. Hey, listen, go ahead and introduce yourself to I call them the cool kids. This is the cool kids club. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the cool kids club.
Well, I'm certainly happy to be a part of the Cool Kids Club, and thank you so very much, Johnny, for having me on. And cool kids that are listening, I'll tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better mentor. Not only the enthusiasm, the motivation, the excitement, but the true heart and the true passion. That's the heart of a champion that I talk about right there, and bringing it out. And obviously our mentor, the late, great Zig Ziglar, and then his son, Tom, carrying it on. And I met Johnny, goodness gracious, years ago, and it was an instant connection at one of the many Ziegler events we've attended. But anyway, I'm Master Coach Rich Grogan. And my biggest thing, what I try and do is really reach in, grab that untapped potential, pull it out, let you know what you're truly made of, and then hit you with a few right hooks of reality, left uppercuts of truth, and inspire and empower and motivate you to say, look, I'm better than this. I can do more than this. I'm going to get my mojo back. I'm going to reclaim that mojo. I'm going to ignite that warrior spirit, unleash that inner warrior that's inside me to be who God created me to be, the best version of myself, not a cheap replica of somebody else. Not a wandering generality, but a meaningful specific that becomes the hero of their own epic story and leaves a legacy, baby, that ripples through generations, just like Zig. He's left a legacy that's going to continue to ripple through generations. Well, all of us have that in us. But the problem is a lot of times we're fearful, we're scared. We start doubting ourselves, and we start thinking, am I really something special? You gosh darn right you are. And we'll talk later when we get into it. I used to actually pray on a daily basis. Well, I pray on a daily basis every day, but pray to be somebody different than who I was. I couldn't understand why I was hyperactive, why I was always the shortest, smallest guy on the team, why I was always overlooked, why I was never given a second glance or a shot. Why? God, please help me be like everyone else. Well, God had a plan. I just didn't realize it at the time, but I do now.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, that's kind of my whole life verse, right? And before I go any further, I got all pumped up and excited. I forgot to tell everybody to share, share this with your friends, your family. Share this on whatever social media you're reaching us on. I was able to put the ways to connect with Rich Grogan. I'm fixing to put up his way to get. We're going to talk about his book here in just a little bit. But guys, seriously, this is some stuff that, again, my life verse is Jeremiah 29:11, right? I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. And there's something about those plans that once you tap into that, makes everything else easier. So Rich, tell us a little bit about how that whole thing got started.
Well, my life verse, I wear it on my cross on my chest. It's Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it was brought up. My grandma would always, Richie, are you putting God first? And everybody called me Richie as a kid. My parents actually still do. But no, Richie was not putting God first for the longest time. Richie was putting his own selfish ego and interest first. So the kind of complete I guess the mental, spiritual, and physical triangle, I was baptized on December 17th, 2017. So fairly new to the baptism. I was always, the Bible was always there. I was always praying, but most of the time I was praying for, just for myself as far as what I wanted. And it wasn't really used to help out in a way it is as it is now. But I grew up poor on a farm. Even at 8 years old, I was out hand milking a milk cow. And as Zig says, those that have never milked a cow, cows don't give milk freely. You earn every single drop. And being a young guy out there, a young kid, and as I mentioned, I was always the smallest kid on every athletic team I played on, every school I went to, and everything else. But had those farm chores, baling hay, shoveling horse poo, carrying the heavy wheelbarrows. It built the grit, the strength, the resilience, the determination. And I found that I had something that others didn't have. And of course, oftentimes we're all about appearance on the outside, being a smaller guy and overlooked and not getting a lot of, in sports, a lot of playing time because I was overlooked. Well, I found that I had something others didn't have, and that was that heart of a champion, that work ethic of an underdog, that attitude of excellence, that mindset of a champion, and that willingness to put the heart, the grit, the determination into it. And that's the equalizer. I posted something the other day about talent. And of course, talent, especially in the sports world. And I coach a couple hockey teams down here. That was my first goal, to be a pro hockey player. That never worked out, and that's okay. I also did martial arts along with that, and I had that fighter spirit. And collectively together, boy, oh boy, it's really unleashed something. But I had to believe in it in order to allow it to be unleashed. And that's a message to your listeners there. You have to believe in your gifts. As I mentioned in the intro, I used to pray to be like everyone else. Well, the only thing you can be is a cheap replica of someone else. Be the true you, the number one priceless original, and let that inner warrior, that God-given talent that you have come out. And mine was work ethic, heart, passion, desire, resilience, grit, the respect for who I was. That's how I earned playing time. That's how I, in fighting, become a champion. That's in coaching, became a champion, regardless of my size, my limited athletic ability. I utilized what I had, and that was that work ethic, that grit, and that's what got noticed. So here's something to write down, folks. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I'll say it again because I say it countless times. I coach a couple hockey teams down here in Florida, which, by the way, I never envisioned that hockey would be as big as it is in Florida. Holy smokes. But I found that all former pros, when they love golf and the weather, well, they come down here, and the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers have been really good teams for quite some time now. It's blown up. Everywhere I go, I'm running into ex-NHLers that I'm actually coaching against. These are guys I used to watch on TV. But anyway, so I will utilize my craft, so to speak, to empower these young hockey players, these teenagers. So back to the quote, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So whatever your talent is, if you just set on it, it's it's kind of meaningless. You got to work hard at it. Just like Johnny works hard at his craft. That's his talent, but it doesn't come easy. He's got to get in there and grind every day to get better and better and better at it, because he is a priceless original, not a cheap replica, just like every one of you out there listening.
Man, I say that all the time. So thank you for reinforcing, if anything else, validating what I try to tell the cool kids, right? Of the 8 billion people on the face of this planet, there's only one you, right? It's evidenced by your fingerprint, by your DNA. That is so awesome how we were all created to be that one off. And yeah, absolutely right. Now, earlier you said something about belief. And that is a big part of what we talk about here on Fridays, because Fridays, it's called Faith Your Fears Friday, where we encourage the cool kids to go out and not just face their fears, not fake it till they make it, faith it, right? Greater is he that is in us than he that is in this world, right? Don't let that giant in front of you to be bigger, that bully to be bigger than the giant inside of you. And so I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about your book, because I'm sitting there looking at it. I was going through the website, and I'll put that link up on in the comment section so you guys can order it, look at. Yeah, Becoming Bully Proof, guys. I tell, usually at the end of my speeches, I usually tell them, hey, finally, as a cool kid, be willing to stand up to that bully on the playground to be able to live out your childhood dreams in this playground we call life. So I'll let you go ahead and talk about the book.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, the book, it's me as a 12-year-old, the little guy here, meeting me 40 years later, going on a journey together, where the older me is teaching the younger me everything I wish I would have known. Number one, about believing in myself, believing in my unique God-given talents, everything we've already talked about. But the bully I'm talking about, because the meanest, nastiest, scariest bully we'll ever face is not the bully from 6th grade or high school or even online 2 days ago or at work, or that jerk that cut you off in traffic. The meanest bully we'll ever face is the one right here in our mind. The one that fills our mind with limited beliefs, self-doubt, with fear that you can't do this. Or like Richie, you're not good enough. Richie, you're not big enough. Richie, you're not strong enough. Richie, you're just not going to make it. Richie, you might as well just give up and quit. Richie, when are you going to realize you're nobody special? Now, substitute my name, Richie, these are all things I was told when I was a kid, with your name. And how many times you've been told that? How many times you've looked in the mirror and, you know what, today's just not going to be my day. Well, when you fill garbage in your mind, as Zig says, garbage in, garbage out, when you believe those limiting beliefs, those self-doubts, those fears, boy, you've already defeated yourself before you even started. Instead, look in the mirror and say, and it's silly. Every time I say this, I always reflect back to that silly Saturday Night Live skit when they look in the mirror. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like me. Well, look in the mirror and say, I am good enough. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to give my very best. Now, does that mean every day is going to be your best day? No. I mean, we're going to have the roller coaster ride of life. But you go out there with a positive mental attitude, you're going to be able to slay those dragons and fight those battles. Or I like to say, reclaim your mojo in order to stand up to any Goliath you face. Doesn't matter. King David, those of you want to follow there, it's Real Rich Grogan. And I do just started doing TikTok a few months ago, but I take the TikTok videos and post them all over all the other social media channels. And this is Mojo May is what I'm calling it, the Mojo May Challenge. And it's all about getting your mojo back. And your mojo is your swagger, your it, what makes you you. But you got to get that swagger back by doing something for you to let you know how great you are. I know it sounds like you. It is. It's all about you. And when you look in that mirror and you got that mojo, baby, and people say, man, are you this hyper and jacked up every day? Well, it's how I start the day. I choose to start it that way. And I haven't been a believer in the fake it till you make it for some time right now. And the reason for that is the more you fake stuff, the more fake you become. And before you know it, you've lost who you originally are. So go out there, reclaim your mojo, and you're not faking it. As Zig would say, man, when somebody would ask him, how's your day? Best day ever. Or how's your day going to be tomorrow or in an hour or this or that? Best day ever. So how can you say that? Are you lying? No, I'm planning for it to be that way. Doesn't mean it's going to be, but you're planning that way. And I tell you what, with a positive mental attitude, you're going to be able to slay a lot more dragons than with a negative mental attitude. And the bully, like I mentioned, in your mind, when you're able to defeat that bully, you're able to go out there and conquer and defeat any Goliath that stands in your way. Bruce Lee's instructor, Yip Man, once told him, Bruce, you can defeat 10,000 men, but until you conquer the evil inside, the bully inside, that mental, that self-doubt, that limiting belief, you're never going to be at peace. You have to conquer this before you can conquer. It doesn't matter how many people you conquer out there. Until you conquer this, you'll never be at peace. So that's the whole essence of the story. And we go on a journey together, like I mentioned, the older me teaching the younger me, everything I wish I would have known. It takes place. It talks about when I was bullied as a kid, didn't know what to do about it. And then as we move forward, the journey, talk about planting seeds in our mental garden. So I want your listeners here, think about this. If we're planting a garden, all right, we've got the ground all tilled up, we've got all the weeds dug out, which is the number one priority. You got to get those weeds out, because if you've all these years of limiting beliefs and self-doubt, and a little exercise I always encourage people to do is simply take out a piece of paper and write weeds at the top. And you're going to list every negative thought you have or ever been told about yourself. You know, I'm stupid, I'm too small, I'm too short, I'll never be good enough. I failed a spelling test in 3rd grade. I was called an idiot back then. I got fired from this job. Oh, I lost this championship. I got cut from a team. Anything. Now, you'll think, well, I only got 2 or 3. Once you start listing those things, you're going to say, holy smokes, the list you have. Now, it gets painful. Then I want you to go through and look at each one of those things. I'm stupid. Cross it off. That's like plucking that weed out. No, you're not. I'm not stupid. I'm good enough. Next thing, I got cut from a team. Well, guess what? I won a championship over here. So you're crossing those off. And at the same time, on the other side, you're going to write seeds, and you're going to write all the positive thoughts of things that have happened. And you're going to list those, and you're going to reflect on the seeds. Now, what those seeds are, those are the seeds you're going to plant in your garden. You're mentally planting them in your garden, just as a garden that you're making. You've dug up all the weeds. You decide on what you want. Now, if you want strawberries, you got to plant what kind of seeds? Strawberry seeds. I promise.
Strawberry seeds.
It's going to be simple. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not going to try and trick you here. You want strawberries, you got to plant strawberry seeds.
You're going to help us with the easy ones, right?
I'll help you with the easy ones. I'll help you with all the easy ones, as Zig said. But if you plant onion seeds, what are you going to get? You're going to get onions. So you have to be very careful about what you plant in your mental garden. The same thing. If you plant negative thoughts and limiting beliefs, that's all you're going to grow. You have to plant what you want. Now, it's so imperative to get those doggone weeds out, because a lot of those weeds, I know for me personally, they've been lingering around for 45 years or so. And I think, all right, finally got it. Well, the thing about a weed, the roots are so deep. And if you don't dig that root up, it's going to come up there, and those weeds will suffocate anything positive. So it's a constant battle of having to work that. That's why looking in that mirror and saying the positive affirmations, looking in the mirror and telling yourself you are good enough, telling yourself that you've got your mojo, you've got your swagger, you've got your it, you are in a place that God wants you to be, and you're going to continue to excel. That's why you got to start the day that way. So mental garden, you want strawberries? Plant strawberry seeds. If you plant onion seeds, you sure as heck are not getting strawberries. The same thing with the positive and the negative.
Man, it is so weird how that works, right? Some guy a long time ago said it was about the law of reaping and sowing and reaping. When you're talking about putting the weeds up there and marking it off your list, right? I always use that THINK acronym. Is it true, honest, inspiring, needful? Is it kind, right? A lot of times we're, like you said earlier, we're that person in the mirror. We are our own worst enemy. Something funny really quick, because I use a lot of humor. I saw somebody post it on social media, and they said, listen, you're already broke and ugly. You can't be negative too. Well, first of all, right, nobody's really broke. They're just experiencing a cash flow problem. And they're not ugly, because we know that God don't make no junk, right? God don't like ugly. I have noticed that he does make some people prettier than others. I'm just going to leave that right there. and then, right, positivity, man, something about putting in that good, that clean, that pure, that positive. Rich, what else can you share with the cool kids here in the Fun Life community about being able to really go out there and live their best, most fun, most blessed life ever?
And I've actually got a trademark I call for that best life ever. It's called Kickin' Life. Kickinlife. Kickin' Life. And what you're doing is You're tired of being kicked around by life. Now you're kicking life's butt. That's what you're doing. You're go out there kicking life's butt. And living your best kick in life is living your zone of excellence, living in your zone of who you are. You've got your mojo, you've got your swagger, that inner warrior's coming out. Now, that doesn't mean, and I'm not one to give false hope. I'm not a believer in that everybody should get a trophy, everybody should get a grade just because you whine and complain enough. And the reason I'm not a believer in that is because sooner or later, life's going to hit you with a right hook of reality. And if we don't teach kids, young kids out there, how to overcome adversity and battle through challenges, if they are not able to battle through small challenges, they're sure as heck not going to have the skill set, the mindset, the perseverance, the grit, the resilience, and determination to battle through teenage problems. They can't battle through them. There's no way they're going to battle through adult problems, and the snowball continues. That's why we've really got to work for the kids out there to earn it. Because once you've earned something, man, you know in your heart, you know every being of your body, I've done this. This is mine, and no one can take it away. But if someone gives you a cheap victory or gives you something you haven't worked for, that's exactly what it is. It's cheap, but it teaches you nothing. And this,
no value.
No value. And kind of this entitled mindset that's going around. I remember once, I don't even know why. I don't even know if I knew what the word meant. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And my grandma, this is back in the 70s, I said something like, Grandma, I must have went to the one of the city boys' houses. That's what my dad used to call the city boys because we were farm boys. And I said something to Grandma, I'm entitled to this. She looked at me and says, Richie, I'm going to tell you something. The only thing you're entitled to is a butt whipping. If you use that word again, you're going to get one. I thought I'd said the F word or something. I'm like, okay. I had no idea. And another one of Grandma's famous terms were,
Richie, straight.
Yes. Yeah. Richie, one day you're going to have to pay the fiddler. You're going to have to pay the ferryman. Now, as a kid, I had no idea who the heck the fiddler or the ferryman was, but she's exactly right. You got to atone for your actions, your sins. You got to atone for this. And you either choose to keep doing the wrong thing and think you're getting away with something, or, man, all right, this is it. I'm turning myself around right here, right now. And, wrote a little book with Tom Ziegler called Road Trip. And Johnny, did you write one of those too? Yep, I thought so. And it's all about guardrails in life.
It's on my goals.
Yeah, baby. Get on it, man. Boom. Set that goal. Well, it's about having guardrails in your life. Now, there's guardrails on highways and bridges in order to keep from, running off the embankment or splashing off into the water. I remember one, I was in my early 20s. I just worked a double shift at the restaurant and didn't get much sleep the night before. And I'm driving home, dozed off at the wheel. I am certainly glad there were guardrails on that bridge because I smashed into the side of the bridge. Now, it wrecked my truck and gashed my head open, but it's much better than falling off into the river, the Mississippi River. Well, the same thing in life. Without those guardrails, we'll drift. And before we know it, we're someplace we never intended to be. It's like, how the heck did I get here? Well, having a good mentor, like listening every Friday to Johnny's show here, having good mentors in your life is the same essence of having good guardrails that keep you on the path. You'll drift, you hit the guardrail, you bounce back, as opposed to drifting off someplace. And unfortunately, what happens with a lot of folks, they drift so far off, they just, it's not worth it. Well, it is worth it to get back. It's going to be a struggle. That's why we got to work hard. And as Jim Rome used to say, we suffer from one or two types of pain: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline, at the time, it seems very heavy. But in essence, the return is priceless. However, the pain of regret, at the time, it didn't cost us anything. We just do it. But that pain in the long run of regret, that pain is unbearable. So suffer the pain of discipline right now, because you're going to suffer one or two types of pain.
Man, absolutely. And we can go down a whole nother rabbit trail on that one, right? As far as discipline and regrets, I'm literally living that right now. And so I tell the cool kids, I'm not the person that's going to have to tell you, hey, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt type of stuff. I'm living it. I'm in the process of going through it with them right now. So together, we're going to get there. And the quote from Mr. Ziegler, right? He said that if you'll discipline yourself to do the things you need to do, when you need to do them, the day will come that you'll be able to do what you want to do when you want to do them. And guys, that sounds like total liberty. That sounds like you're playing all out in the playground of life. And I love what you said about the kick in life, right? We always tell people that the kids that we're helping them to activate, and for some of the older kids, reactivate the childlike faith that was inside of them. Because remember, as a kid, nobody could tell you no. You wanted something, you went after it with childlike abandonment. You didn't care. If mama said no, you went to daddy. If daddy said no, you went to grandma. Grandma always said yes, right? But you found a way. And somewhere along the line, I believe somebody in their computer screen somewhere hit delete on the fun button. And fun, you work with hockey teams, fun is serious business. They're having fun at the highest level, and they're making some serious money. But that's it correlates to business. It correlates to your career. It correlates to your life. And so, can you kind of expand on that from what you've seen on the hockey side of things?
Yeah, and I really work with all athletes, and even with the martial arts academy, we had non-athletes too. But I believe everybody's got, even if they're not an athlete, they've got some talent inside, and I'm going to do my best to reach in and pull that out, regardless if they're an athlete, a musician, they're an artist, whatever it is. That's your talent, and I want you to embrace that, not just true potential, but your full potential, in order to live your best kick in life, to bring that out. But yeah, fun. When we forget to have fun, and I'm guilty of it too. That's why I enjoy doing podcasts and speaking and everything else, is to remind myself, man, I am nothing but a kid trapped in this adult body. And that's exactly what I tell the hockey players, and which I'm motivated now. Like I mentioned, I coach a couple teams down here. I want you to have fun, but I promise you, it's far more fun when you've prepared, when you've worked hard at practice, when you've disciplined yourself, when you thought, man, this isn't fun. Well, I'm forward thinking that I'm going to have fun winning the game. I'm going to have forward winning the championship. But in order to have that fun right now, I've got to put in the work. But as you said, be that kid, dream like that kid, that you had no fear. Like you said, you're just was just, well, you know what? That's just another hurdle. So in business, think of a kid.
Next option.
Yeah, kids are the best salespeople on the planet, because they don't stop after the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth no. They want something, they're going to find a way to get it. And that's the same thing with us here. We need to have that same inner spirit, that same inner warrior as a kid. But once again, not to lose our childhood fun, not to get so wrapped up in being an adult that you're like, man, this adult thing kind of sucks. What happened to having fun? Well, if you say that, now think, what can I do to start having fun? And I was told constantly as a kid, my dad did the best he could. And he was 101st Airborne in Vietnam. Really, well, had a rough time, and has had a rough life since. But all he knew was work, 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 work. And it was like, Richie, when are you ever going to grow up? Richie, life isn't about just having fun all the time. Richie, you got to take some things seriously. And I was like, well, why? And then I started doing that, and I was miserable. I want to get back to being me. That's why I work with kids the majority of the time. Matter of fact, since I moved to Florida here, I had a martial arts academy for almost 30 years, and I sold it to our senior instructor a few years ago. And I guess 2 years ago I sold it. But we moved to Florida about 3 years ago. We were kind of running it from afar. But anyway, I enjoyed being on the mat. I enjoyed empowering the kids and the adults and everybody there, but I absolutely hated the business side of it. It wasn't fun to me. Of course, you got to have if you don't have the business. Now, I ran the business for a number of years as a money-losing hobby, which is no way to run business. If you're going into business, a business has to make money or you're going to be out of business. I went bankrupt twice, had a house foreclosure, miserable. Now, I was having a lot of fun, but I wasn't very disciplined as far as the business side. So that was the regret, right? That was the payment. So you got to balance it out. And then if you don't like doing those things, you got to find somebody to do the things that you don't like to do. But so you can focus in on your zone of genius. So anyway, I moved to Florida here, and I thought, well, I'm going to work with entrepreneurs. And I wrote my book, become an award-winning author, bestseller. I've got another book, if you can see it on the bookshelf back there, a kid's book. It's a kid's affirmation book called I Believe in Me. And I took every letter of the alphabet And it's positive affirmation for little kids to learn the alphabet and learn a positive affirmation to plant the right seeds in their mental garden early and often. So not if, but when some little knucklehead tries to bully them, they can say, no, I am brave and bully proof. I am courageous and confident. And they're learning cool words too. But anyway, I decided I'm going to help entrepreneurs. Well, it was almost like trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. It just wasn't working. And the harder I fought at it, the harder God was trying to tell me, knock, knock, knucklehead, this is not your zone, man. Yeah, you can help a lot of people. You can come on different shows and talk about that, but that's not your zone. You're nothing but a kid at heart. You need to be helping teenagers and kids, help them with the struggles that you had to overcome. And finally, just within the last couple months, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So I've kind of ditched that, and I'm in my zone it feels so good. It's like a weight's been lifted. And now it's now this goes to your kind of your business mindset, folks that are listening, to the kids. You've got to niche it down to one, get your fun, but your zone of excellence. And what that is it comes so natural to you that you just do it. Talking, I've always had a talking problem. Doing podcasts, I got my own podcast, doing speeches, talking to athletes or anyone, man, that comes natural to me. Working and trying to help entrepreneurs, and it seemed like what I ran into was every entrepreneur just wanted 5 steps to the next $50,000. Now, you got to run a business like a business, and I can tell you all about how to do it wrong, but I don't enjoy that. I enjoy motivating and empowering, helping them live their best kick in life. Like kids at a studio that break through a board. Heck, I've got professional athletes who won. He was a 2-time World Series champion, Silver Slugger Award, numerous Gold Gloves. I became pretty good friends with him. He came to the academy, and I said, why don't we do a board break and share it to both platforms? And he was nervous as heck. And I had Austin, my oldest son, with me, and he was the one that actually held the board. And he said, this is something we do every day, and this guy's nervous about this. He didn't say it in front of him. He said it afterwards. Well, it goes to show we've all got our fears of things we don't know how to do. Now, our zone of genius, we've been breaking boards since, Austin's breaking boards since he's 4 years old. Just something he did, right? Well, now the professional athlete, the board was much bigger, but he's sweating. I said, man, you can do this. I believe in you. We're going to unleash that inner war. We're going to do all this and that. He got all pumped up, smashed through it. And he goes, I didn't think I could do it. I'm like, dude, you had 200 and something homers in the majors. Are you kidding me here? Well, it just goes to show when you're operating your zone of genius, you can encourage and empower others to do something they didn't think possible. Once, little kid mindset. I'm breaking boards. That's what I do, right? I'm empowering people. That's what I do. I'm making people feel good. That's what I do. Trying to help entrepreneurs 5 steps to $50,000. That's not what I do. Now, I know I kind of circled around a little bit there, but hopefully the point was operate in your zone, baby. And that's when it just happens. And it's just like, man, not only would I do this and the podcast I'm on, do this because I enjoy doing it. Even the old podcast, my own podcast, do it because you enjoy doing it. It happens and it just feels so natural. And that's the little kid coming out.
Absolutely. I mean, everything that you said is spot on, right? It all starts with thought. That thought is going to give you certain feelings or emotions. Those emotions are going to cause you to take action or inaction, resulting in certain results that are going to reinforce the initial thought, and it just becomes a cycle. So yeah, if you've been breaking boards your whole life, whatever obstacles in front of you is just another board you got to break. Boom, let's go. The fun life is actually an acrostic, and it stands for finding your niche. Well, we're in East Texas, so we say niche. Finding your niche. And then that life, I stole it from Howard. It says living in freedom every day. So imagine what it's like operating in your fun zone day in and day out. You talked about it earlier. You went bankrupt, all kinds of crazy stuff. You've probably heard it before said that love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. That's cute. That's a really cute quote. Nice posters, nice social media stuff, but that's a recipe for bankruptcy, right? It's an expensive hobby. I tell people that love what you do so much that you would be willing to do it for free. Do it so well that people will pay you for it. And any excess you don't need, come see me. We work with a lot of nonprofits that we can give back to the community, right? Because the book that I read says give, and it's going to be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So, Rich, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on here. Hey, listen, just in parting words, just tell the cool kids what they need to do. You probably already touched on it, but give them a kicking right hook of reality to live their best, most kicking life ever, man. Look at, hey, where can I get one of those shirts to make my guns look like that?
Yeah, that's getting the mojo back. That's getting the swagger.
Yeah, so, May Mojo, boom.
May Mojo, baby. Well, the big thing you brought up, one, be a kid. Two, and it's something I in speeches and presentations and workshops, I'll have audience members write on boards their fear, their limiting belief, a barrier in their mind that's holding them back. And then we work together on breaking through that barrier. Now I say, look, just the way you broke through this barrier, yeah, you were scared, you were nervous, you didn't think you could do it, but we worked together on this thing. And man, you smashed through that barrier. Well, I want to take the same approach, the same attitude, the same belief in yourself, and break through that barrier that's holding you back. And the best way to do that, just grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down what that is. Now, I don't encourage anybody to break boards that hasn't done it before with a trained professional, because you'll end up breaking your hand, which is a whole nother setback. You got a broken hand. Yeah, don't do that. But the best thing you can do, write those limiting beliefs on that piece of paper, cross them off. And this is another thing I'll do, because I can't have everybody in workshops and speeches break boards. So a little thing I have them do is write down 2 or 3 big, bold barriers that are holding them back. Maybe it's something they were told as a kid. Maybe it's something they've built up in their own mind. You got to see it, write it down, look at it, stare at it, as painful as that is, and then cross it off, and then crinkle that piece of paper up in your hand and say, not now, not ever, no more. I'm better than this. Crinkle it up, look at it, and then throw that dang thing in the trash. Or if you want to go outside and light that thing on fire, that's fine too. But you're taking it out of here. Attitude. You've broke through that barrier, and now you've destroyed it, and you're moving forward. And as a reminder, look in that mirror daily, and don't look for all your flaws. I mean, we've all got flaws. God don't make no junk, but we're also not perfect in every imaginable way. We're not Mary Poppins, all right? But when you look for what you look for, you'll surely find. You look for the flaws, you're going to find countless. However, you look for the beauty that God made in you and your talent, your gifts, and what you have to offer. Man, oh man, you're going to find those. And then you're going to go out. And I'll tell you one little last thing. When you're struggling, and we all are from time to time, sometimes it seems like, man, the weight of the world just keeps piling on you. When you focus on all your problems, you're not in a place to help anyone else. But that's the exact time when you need to deliberately go out and try and help someone else. And what happens then, it's not that your problems go away, but you temporarily forget about your problems in the midst of helping someone else. Now you're invigorated, you're empowered. You come back and are able to attack your problems with a whole new sense of vigor, grit, resilience, and determination to tackle those problems, to break through those barriers. Often I like to say, if we all took all our problems and threw them in a big pile, and we got to see what problems other people are dealing with, we would say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take my problems back out of here. I had no idea. And it's hard, though. It's hard because we're the ones dealing with them. But I promise you, if you go out there with a serving heart, ready to serve and help others, it's going to empower you to solve your problems with more vigor than you could ever imagine.
Rich, thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for pouring into the Cool Kids Club here in the Fun Life community. I can't thank you enough. And I look forward to, I don't know if you're going to be at the summit next week, but I look forward to connecting with you and definitely doing more of these with you, man. Appreciate you. For those of you that got a chance, I did put it in the comment section. So go down there, go to his website, connect with Rich, go order his book. Let's do this, baby. Go have your kicking best life. Rich, thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Love you.
Love you, Johnny. God bless, folks. Thank you, kids.
Bye-bye. Guys, you heard it. You heard it from the man himself, Rich Grogan from Bully Proof. Guys, stop talking bad to yourself. Start having those, putting in the good, the clean, the pure. Hey, that story he just said there at the end, right? That's the overarching quote from Mr. Ziegler. Yes, you can have everything, and I do mean everything in life you want, if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. I read a story this morning about a gentleman walking through the winter, through a snowstorm, and he got lost, somehow lost his way, and his hands and his feet started feeling numb, and he started going around trying to find some help when he accidentally stumbled upon another guy that had also done the same thing. And so he reached down, there was still life in him, but he was kind of he wasn't responding. So he got down there and he started kind of massaging him, started moving him around until he started to respond. All of a sudden, he noticed that his hands were no longer numb, his feet were no longer numb. And so he helped him, right? He was at the crossroads of, hey, do I continue to move on and go help myself, or do I help this guy right here? And so he decided to help that guy right there. And in helping him, in essence, he helped himself. That's just the perfect story of you can have everything in life you want if you'll help enough other people get what they want. Guys, hey, listen, this has been your playground guide, Johnny Juan Ortiz, here in the Fun Life community, powered by this guy right here, like we talked about, Mr. Zig Ziglar. And if you, right, we started a group coaching here. We start 1st of June. If that's you, if you're a real estate professional wanting to take your business to the next level, we've got 2 more spots open that you can come in and join. Call me for details, 903-570-0052. Go to thefunlifecoaching.com. You can connect there, get your free phone call, 15-20 minutes to find out if it's a good fit for you. Other than that, guys, hey, listen, we're going to come back on here at 2 o'clock. First time it's ever been done. We're going to be coming with another Ziegler coach, Steve Collins. That's going to be pretty exciting. And then, you know what I forgot to talk about was the speak off. Oh, Rich, we're going to have you back on to talk about the speak off. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Love you. We will see you guys at 2 o'clock.